Welcome to the Motive for Life radio show. This is Robert Christensen. Thank you for joining me. This week, we're going to go back to basics. Why self-worth is so important to our success. It's such a critical piece to everything we do that it's hardly, overstating the fact that we have to focus on worthiness as the core piece of any particular success we want to accomplish. It reminds me of this conversation I had a couple of days ago with a really good friend of mine named Jeff. And Jeff and I were talking about weight loss programs. And weight loss programs are typically pretty good across the board. They work. You control what you eat, you measure what you eat, your routines, when you get up, how much you exercise, stuff like that. And if you put all that stuff into place, those routines typically work very well. The challenge is the self-sabotage or the pulling back or the stopping of those routines once success has been attained. Now, you can say that for, obviously with the weight loss industry, you could say that with debt, getting out of debt, with Susie Orman and all the other programs that are out there today. You could say that about making money, and having a different career mindset, or athletics, or pick any topic where we have a more narrow, really aggressive goal that we want to go after. And then once we get close to it or near it or actually exceed it, all sorts of self-worth issues start manifesting in our life in the forms of self-sabotage. And the only reason I know that is because I have started and stopped, or started and self-sabotaged my own success so many times that I thought I was literally broken inside, that there was no help for what it was that I was experiencing. I knew how to make money. I knew how to advance my career. I knew how to do life hacks. I didn't know how to keep the success. This is the biggest lesson I want to share with everybody, is how do you keep success? We can get to even a small amount of success. And if you only do that little goals once every 3 or 4 weeks, over a year, you've advanced quite a bit. The challenge is the feeling of the emotions having gone outside of the boundaries, the comfort zone, specifically our upper limit. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that today, about the concepts of just fundamentals of our zone of self-worth. Now, our zone of self-worth is all about kind of a thermostat. Now, a thermostat meaning that there is a machine, a mechanism inside me. I call it the routine engine. Call it what you want, your comfort zone, it doesn't matter. There is a system inside of you that is intended to keep you safe, to guard you, to protect you, whether it's against emotional and psychological injury or actual physical injury, or just keeping your body and your whole system alive. That system, I call the routine engine. Others may have a different name for it, subconscious, whatever. The deal here is that it's been set and pre-programmed very much with many of these systems when you were young. And what your cultural background is, how you were raised by your parents, the impact that you have of various life experiences, maybe you had some trauma, all of these things go to just an abnormal number of settings that create what I call your zone of self-worth. Now, everybody has a different zone of self-worth. We have a lower limit, kind of like the lower limit on a thermostat, like if the temperature drops below a certain number, and an upper limit, if it gets too hot, we want to kick in the air conditioner. Now, as life situations get good or they get bad, we have this system, this engine inside us that naturally is always asking, is this safe? Is this a safe situation? Am I going to be going into a safe situation? Am I in a safe situation? And remember, although our conscious mind, the one that tells us, I want to go to the store, or I want an ice cream, or whatever that is significantly less powerful than the subconscious mind, the one that makes most of our decisions. Matter of fact, it makes almost all of our decisions. That system will immediately engage and say yes or no. Yes, I'm going to go forward, and no, I'm not going to go forward. And that lack of control over that secondary system, that worthiness system, that zone of self-worth, is what became so frustrating for me, and is often so frustrating for so many people when you start getting into very specific goal setting or success. So let's go back to the weight loss situation. I was raised with a father who told me I was fat, who made jokes that I was fat. He used to call me fatty. And from very young age, I've wrestled with body image or being slightly chubby or overweight. Now, I over-rotated into athletics and became an athlete and worked out so that I would never be fat. And I'm being chased by this language in my head that told me I was always fat and had a negative self-worth image of my body. I'm not, I look into the mirror and I see my stomach and I would say something to myself like, if you were better, you'd be able to control your weight. This truly attacked my self-worth. It was this endless hamster wheel of eat a little sugar, beat myself up, say I suck, and go right back into eating more sugar again so I can complete the loop. And so what I had to learn was new language and emotions that I wanted to rewire into my routine engine, my subconscious, and change my worthiness zone for my body image. Now, this is where the work starts. This is what you have to do. And the way we can do it is use just very fundamental classical psychology. It's called conditioning. Conditioning is simply repetitive, over and over again, repeating of the same words and the same disciplines for a period of 90 days. 90 days seems to be the cycle for humans to change the electronics, the programming, the neuroconnectors that hold our thinking together, and to move it from a very forceful, very willful, difficult situation to get the subconscious to accept it. Now, this discovery around conditioning, there's actually a Russian psychologist named Pavlov who discovered this process using animals, dogs, but it works for humans amazing, right? We've known that we can brainwash ourselves. We can, people brainwash others. We can convince others after a period of time of conditioning, going through school, teaching them repetitively over and over again. We know that we can change thinking. So why can't I change my own thinking then? I can. I absolutely can. So here's the challenge that we have to go through is first, we have to identify what the problem is and that our zone of self-worth might be causing us problems today, and it's no longer serving us. We want to go to a new level. Then come up with the new language that we want to have be permanent in our thinking going forward. So instead of me saying I have a fat stomach every time I look at myself in the mirror, I want to hear a saying that I love how I look. I love how my body feels. I am the perfect weight. I have a great physical presence. That's what I want to hear in my head when I look in the mirror. Wouldn't that be great? And so I have spent in really, really a lot of time on relearning language and relearning emotions and having gratitude for what I am today. Now, I know I'm in good health. I know I look good. I am 6 foot. I weigh right around 200 pounds, given what day of the week. I'm kind of a big guy. I'm Scandinavian. So this is just how I'm built. And no one has ever told me I'm fat except for me. My doctors don't tell me I'm overweight. It's not there. So it's not reality, right? So I want that new language in my head. So what we do then is we implement a set of affirmations and repeat them every day for 90 days. Now, what I've done is written a book on this whole topic called The Bug in Our Brain. It's on Amazon, and it teaches you all the fundamentals of this mechanics I'm saying right now. So if you've been listening to the podcast, you know all about this. However, if you're new to the podcast and you're new to the concept of self-worth, you can apply the fundamental technology of self-worth to any goal-setting activity, whether it be weight, whether it be finance, whether it be getting out of debt, whether it be you want to attract a new person in your life, you want to have better relationships, you want to have a new career, you want to have a spiritual breakthrough, you want to go on a trip, you want to have recreation, whatever the goal-setting piece that you want to have in your life. Self-worth is the first piece of the equation that is necessary so that you can feel, and I literally mean this, that you feel that you are worthy of attaining and keeping that success. Okay, that's part one of the story, how self-worth affects every aspect of our life. Now, here's the funny thing that I didn't know about self-worth until after numerous failures of having implemented my own self-worth routine changes, right? I had put in conditioning, I had put in the affirmations, I had hit my successes, and then self-sabotage kicked in. Seriously, I knew what I was doing. I knew that I rewired myself. I knew that I had changed how I felt about my body and how I would eat. I'd lose the weight, I'd be at that location, but then I absolutely knew what I was doing when I reached over and I picked up a donut. I knew it. I could see it in my mind's eye. I wasn't pretending. I wasn't under some illusion. What had happened is I was consciously, knowingly self-sabotaging myself. Now, some people are very aware of that process and some people are not. Either way, but self-sabotage kicks in once we exceed our upper limit. It's as if my routine engine, that system inside me said, we are not going there. You have gone well above what you, even with the new language, gone above where you think you are, remember? So now I'm going to pull you back. And the way the system works is through self-sabotage. Now, self-sabotage takes the form of multiple aspects. It can be bad sexual behavior. It can be inappropriate spending processes, inappropriate spending activity, debting. It could be arguing with spouses. It could be gambling. It could be procrastination. It could be a whole bunch of stuff. And when you start recognizing the self-worth, self-sabotage functions that are going on inside you, when I'm saying by functions, they're actually things that it goes down a list trying to do to get you back in line. It's as if there's a little person inside you with a long list of things that I'm going to try to get Robert back in line and to come out of that success. It's crazy. And if you are able to step back and watch your life and to be able to look at what you are doing, you can witness the self-sabotage that happens as a result of going above your upper limit. All of this is called the red zone. This is the technology that we've identified here. Once you go above your upper limit and self-sabotage starts kicking in, we call that the red zone. Now, the red zone comes in so many ways, right? You may have a set of red zone behaviors and emotions that are different from everybody else. Let's say that you want to lose 10 pounds and you have done that. And you've gone and lost 15 and gone way past it and you look fantastic. You feel good. You physically are on the top of the world. And then you just gradually stop going to the gym or exercising or running. You rationalize going out to dinner and having that dessert that you had sworn off for the last 5 months. You decide to stop tracking what you eat or checking in with a coach or whatever that is, and you just forget. You just forget. And then when it creeps in, you remember that and you kind of rationalize it away. But then you get back on the scale and you've lost that progress. You fell back again. And then you start beating yourself up for having coming off of it. And then you re-swear that you're going to go do it again and you're going to get back on, but you don't. And your system pulls you back into that zone of comfort of where your worthiness is, because there's a part of you that says, I am not worthy of looking and feeling this good. It hits you like a ton of bricks when you recognize it and you see it. The great news here is this, is that there is a way out. There's work to do, no doubt about that, but it's permanent work. It sticks. It doesn't unwind itself. When you change the thinking inside you, when you change how you go through the red zone, how you deal with success and become more and more familiar with the emotions of the red zone, you have tools that you can use to take you through it. Okay. And those tools fall into many different things. And we're going to cover those in the next several podcasts about how to use the tools of self-worth improvement, of elevating self-worth to get you through the red zone so that you know how to survive through this without going up and down, up and down, up and down. And eventually, if you go up and down too much, you lose complete faith in yourself. And that really, really is a place that nobody wants to be when you've been defeated. And you just don't say, hey, why am I trying anymore? I'm just going to succumb to this whole thing and I'm going to exist. And we know, and I know a whole bunch of people who just exist. And I don't want to be one of those people that just exists. I want to feel good. I want to be happy. I want to connect with my human being friends, families, colleagues, you name it. I want to be part of this world while I am on this earth plane. That is life. That's the part I want, right? And to do that, I can't have this nagging sense inside me that I suck. It's got to go away. I want to feel good about who I am and wake up in the morning and say, okay, this is a good day. Those challenges ahead of me are there to make me better, not defeat me. They improve my livelihood. They don't defeat me. So, self-worth, I have found over many decades of working through this stuff, working with thousands and thousands of people over almost 35 years, I've learned that this is at the very root of our life. And if we can change our worthiness, how we love ourselves, how do we communicate to ourselves, how we see ourselves in the mirror, we have a bridge that we can cross that takes us to our next level of success without dynamiting it behind us. Hey, this is Robert Christensen. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, please, please leave a review. Please leave a review. Take the time out. Let me know that you like the podcast and what we're doing. If you don't care for this stuff, I leave it on there as well. I want to hear about it. Also, go get The Bug in Our Brain. It's a book on Amazon. It talks about all this technology. It's on Kindle. It's also a paperback. In addition to that, go check us out on Insight Timer. It's Robert Christensen at Insight Timer. That's where all of these journeys and meditations are. It's all free. The content's all free. And then lastly, at motiveforlife.com, you can download the gift. The gift is a 90-day conditioning boot camp. It is a transformational process for 90 days that will lift your self-worth to a significant level just by doing a 90-day boot camp on the language, images, and emotions of worthiness. I love you all. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk with you next week. Bye. This has been a Motive for Life Productions, all rights reserved.